इसके बाद एक और केस हमारे साथ से हम हालांकि अपने टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज में से केस स्टडी कहते हैं, लेकिन एक और एंटरप्रेन्योर हमारे बीच में हैं जिनको मैं स्टेज पे बुलाना चाहूंगा। इन्होंने देश का पहला केपीओ शुरू किया और इसके बाद उस बिजनेस से बिल्कुल इन्होंने अपने आप को डाइवर्ट करते हुए एक ऐसा ब्रांड बनाया जिसको शायद हम और आप कभी न कभी हमने उसको टेस्ट जरूर किया होगा। हमारे बीच इस वक्त है जीएस भल्ला साहब, जो कि जिन्होंने शुरुआत की कोकोबेरी की। जीएस भल्ला साहब, चाहेंगे कि आप प्लीज स्टेज पर आए।
First correct you, Piyush, there's no 300 crore fundraise. I think that's a widely exaggerated amount. But yes, we did undergo a recent equity infusion by private equity investors in our company. I think largely the journey of an entrepreneur is pretty much the same. So I think the parameters, circumstances change over time, but the journey pretty much remains the same. My story is pretty similar to what Kumar's story would be, or Suri Saab over here, or Sudhirji's, because you always have to start with at some point. So yesterday I was doing an interview with Mint, and the journalist asked me, so what's really a good time to start a business? I said the best time to start a business is now. You need to put a stake in the ground and say, yes, I'm going to do it, and then you need to figure out a way how to do it. So, usually I had the privilege to go to a couple of good business schools to get a some sense of what entrepreneurship really is. So in one word, the definition of entrepreneurship is the relentless pursuit of opportunity without resources currently controlled. So basically what that means is, the first thing most people think about being entrepreneurs is about access and availability to capital. So जब भी आप एक नया बिजनेस शुरू करना चाहते हैं, आप उसके बारे में सोचते हैं कि मैं इसमें पैसा कैसे लगाऊंगा. दूसरा, most people are very risk averse. They feel that if I choose the path of an entrepreneur, then the risk is much greater than me taking a safer bet and picking up a job. My story is pretty similar, like I said, with any entrepreneur. I started with 10,000 rupee loan from my mother, and I took up a distribution of right out of college of some paper product companies. Built it very successfully for 4 or 5 years. I had generated enough capital, so there's a little difference between how my journey has been. I've pretty much remained debt free for until now. And I'm not saying that debt is bad. I think debt is necessary if you can service it. But like Kumar pointed out, I think you need to be very, very careful about your resources that you have, especially capital that you have. And like somebody rightly pointed out, easy come, easy go. So if you have access to a lot of capital, you will have a tendency to become a little lax and take decisions that are not the best possible decisions and will not achieve the best possible outcome for your business. So from that perspective, one should.
सर, आपसे ये भी जानना चाहेंगे कि आपने किस तरीके से अपना वो होमवर्क किया फाइनेंसेस के लिए, जैसे आपने अभी रिसेंटली पैसा रेज किया है कंपनी के लिए. ओके, वी आर नॉट आस्किंग फॉर द अमाउंट, बट उसके लिए आपको होमवर्क किस तरीके का करना पड़ा? अगर एक नॉर्मल एक छोटा यूनिट अगर इस तरीके से फंड रेज करना चाहे, तो किस तरीके के होमवर्क की जरूरत पड़ती है इसके लिए?
आप डिपेंड्स ऑन द क्वांटम ऑफ कैपिटल दैट यू आर प्लानिंग टू रेज. Whether you're looking at private markets or public markets, or you're looking at bank debt, I think documentation is something that is very important. You need to have a strong, robust business plan supported by demonstrable revenues on the ground. So it has to be a proven concept. Other than that, आपको अगर एक concept पे पैसा raise करना है, तो the only way to do it is, I don't think bank financing is the way to go. I think you would need to look at angel financing.
You said that basically you're trying to make your company a debt-free, or your company is debt-free, and you were primarily coming in from that debt should be taken only when you can service it. Otherwise, it's good to keep your company without debt, because obviously debt has to be serviced. Now, this is probably you're doing right now, but as you grow, you probably could realize that debt also is an important part of an organization. And yes, servicing the debt, one has to keep in mind the profitability of the organization. So if you pick up a debt You need to keep your top line and bottom line both in mind. Then only can you service the debt. What do you feel is the roadmap for you for the future of your organization?
I personally don't look to debt as an evil trap that one would get caught in. I think it is a form of financing, and if you are capable of, unfortunately in India, you can't possibly raise debt without collateral. So it's more of a pipe dream for a young entrepreneur to go out and say, well, I'm going to raise debt without collateral, despite, there might be some schemes that exist out there in the market. The only way to finance small young enterprises would be to look at private markets. Now that being said, if you have, and you rightly pointed out, if your balance sheet can support debt servicing, I think that is a great form of capital raising, because I think it's the cheapest form of capital. Equity is the most expensive form of capital, so you need to be mindful and you need to be careful about what you dilute in terms of equity. If your organization, and we feel the same thing, that if our organization from a cash flow standpoint can support debt as we grow, I think that would be a preferred mode of financing, and that I think should be the case for all organizations growing or large scale.